Okay, my name's George Parker, and I'm the assistant to Dr. Jessica Halliday, who is the director of the inaugural Festival of Transitional Architecture. She always enjoys it when I say that. Okay, I'm here to talk about the Festival of Transitional Architecture, FESTA, with an emphasis on the ta, so that it doesn't sound like festering. And the idea of the Festival of Transitional Architecture, it actually grew out of it's grown from a number of different sources. You know, we've got this environment in Christchurch at the moment where there's not a lot happening in the inner city, and there's lots of groups and whatnot that have inhabited sort of garages and bedrooms, performance groups, music groups, churches. They've inhabited churches, they've all variety of spaces. So the idea actually originally came up that creating a festival that the outcome of which would be performance venues and spaces mixed with hospitality would be something quite exciting and unique. There's nothing like a festival of transitional architecture anywhere, and yet the idea of the kind of transitional or temporary pop-up ideas, urban renewal, that's actually the one of the major conversations worldwide in terms of urban design. So this festival is really a chance to maximise and in many ways exploit Christchurch's opportunity to bring a conversation about urban renewal to Christchurch, about how you create a kind of exciting dynamic in the city, because in many ways that's what we've got in this transitional city period. While we're sort of waiting, people are working on blueprints and plans and all the things that will inevitably change. We've got the chance now to innovate, to experiment, to do different things. So an event like this is very much about trying to encourage that kind of creative conversation. So it's a collaborative creative conversation between artists and architects and business, developers, politicians. It's a chance to really mix it up a bit and see what we might create. And it's not all about the new either, it's actually, we've specifically chosen sites that are in relation to other buildings that are still standing. So you have that experience in Christchurch at the moment where this sort of sense of what the city was is sort of, you stand there in an intersection and you know it, that all your life, and you're just trying to work out what the hell was there, and it's kind of just sort of slipping away. And that's quite, that can be pretty traumatic and really mess with your head and your sense of place. But at the same time, as you're going through that kind of trauma, there's new light in places that there never was before on buildings, falls on buildings in a way it didn't before, and you sort of get this chance to imagine what could be. So, I mean, events like this really are trying to tap into that, that it's not just starting completely from new, but actually taking what was there before and what was great and using that as the foundations to a new sense of place. So when it originally came up, it was in relation to a project called the Art Circus, which is a kind of transitional arts neighbourhood which has a series of transitional venues for music and performance mixed with hospitality and some retail markets, and we're still wanting that project to happen, and it's in the plans and it's mentioned, but it's difficult to get it going. And this project was originally sort of, the FESTA was sort of suggested as part of that, to be able to keep the venues within the Art Circus continuously being recycled. So every year you would have like this small intimate venues so that you have greater diversity of music and performance, but you would be able to take the structures in the Art Circus, replace them, and those replaced would go to community, to suburbs to replace or establish community facilities, performance areas, gathering spaces, and then you'd have something new. So it really maximises that idea of the transitional, and it's continuously moving. You've got a range of arts, from everything from visual arts to music, performance, stand-up, kapa haka, so that's where but it's taken on a life of its own now, and it really is, who knows, the Art Circuits might be an outcome of something like FESTA, but it's really a chance to experiment and to play and to, well, play is not the right word, to experiment and to get in a conversation about what the city could be and invite people from outside Christchurch. We've got 350 students, architectural students from around the country, who've been working with people like Cassels to develop an environment in the city and for an event called LUXCITY, which kicks off FESTA on the 20th of October, and so people can come down and experience a night of light for a single night. So we have students from Auckland University, Unitec, Victoria University, CPIT, and they're all working with participants in Christchurch, Cassels, C4, Infinite Definite, and various performance and art groups to create environments. They've been working with them for a number of months now to create, sort of installations. So Cassels, for example, will be doing what Cassels does and creating a kind of hospitality environment within Gloucester Street. There'll be other groups performing music, and there'll be night market, there'll be so it's a whole mixture of inner city urban dwelling for a single night, and taking a lot of the groups, I guess, that have been, at the forefront of revitalising Christchurch, and only some of them, but so that's what's exciting about it, is that everybody's kind of jumped on board and went, yep, because the big thing about this is that it's about taking another step back into the city and having creating a sense of excitement and inclusion, being involved in creating the city now, because at the moment there is sometimes the sense that a lot of people are deciding what's going to happen and not a lot's happening. So the more we can come up with projects that allow people access to the city and creating it, I think all for the better, all for the good. 20th of October, 6:30 to 12. For more information you can go to FESTA.org.nz, that's FESTA.org.nz. We've also got a Facebook page up, and there's a separate LUXCITY event for the opening night on the 20th.